welcome everyone to today's webinar, whereby we will delve into the world of HPE GreenLake. All right, we're going to attempt to clarify, demystify some of the concepts concerning HPE GreenLake. My name is Domenico.miele. I'm from the NOVIPRO group, and I'm excited to be co-hosting with Peter Moser from HPE, a senior distinguished technologist. Welcome, Peter.
Thank you very much, Domenico. Thank you for having me.
All right, so to go through today's agenda, it says we're going to go through some of the typical questions that are being asked surrounding HPE GreenLake. We'll have some testimonials lined up. We did have a live testimonial lined up, but due to some scheduling issues, we scrambled to get some video or relevant material that at least can see what customers are saying about HPE GreenLake. We will go through some use cases from 3 different customers here in Canada. I'll go through or go over what NOVIPRO brings to the table, and then we'll try to get to some Q&As from our audience members. All right, so let's go into it. All right, so the Q&As. So Peter, one of the questions being asked is, how would you best explain the concept of an on-prem as a service infrastructure?
The way I would best describe HPE GreenLake is, kind of creating the cloud experience for basically all the customers' workloads. Because if you look at the data from IDC and others, only less than 30% of the workloads are in the public cloud. And so what customers wanted is that same experience for all their workloads, not just some of them. And there's a lot of reasons why 10 years later, all those workloads aren't in the public cloud. And there's data gravity, you have complexity, integration challenges, you have security, latency, privacy concerns around the data. So there's a lot of reasons why on-premise cloud has been growing at a very rapid rate. Customers want it at the edge in their factories, in hospitals, places like that. They want it in their current data centers and with that cloud experience, but also co-location facilities. So basically, GreenLake is to provide you a common control plane across your entire estate of clouds, wherever you need the cloud.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I've come from a place where we also needed some real-time data, and sometimes when you've got this on the cloud, the latency just kind of doesn't work, right? So you've got to come back to on-prem. Mm-hmm. So one of the questions I was asked at one point was, isn't GreenLake something like that, or disguised as a leasing option?
Well, originally we started GreenLake 10 years ago. It was pretty much a lease. But what's changed since then is we spent millions of dollars creating a control plane, a hybrid cloud control plane. And so what that consists of is, dozens of tools, the off-the-shelf open source tools that have been integrated and scripted, and then we've created over 1,500 services, workflows that consist of what cloud is, which is automation. And then with that, we provide the transparency and the tooling to show you how much you're using on-prem or in the public cloud, how much you're paying on-prem or public cloud, and allow you to orchestrate across those domains. So there's far more than a lease. It's a common control plane that doesn't preclude you from using the tools that you might be using in any of the public clouds, but it creates an abstraction layer to simplify the use of provisioning and monitoring and look back and all that other that way you don't have yet another set of tools to learn. It's one that can sit on top of VMware, Red Hat, what have you, and simplify all that provisioning and right. Transparency looking for as well. Yep.
So would that be more of a CapEx model or more of an OpEx model?
That's another great question. And really what we found is it's interesting statistic that 60% of our customers choose to consume HPE GreenLake through CapEx. And so really it's more of an accounting structure on how you do your finances as a company, because both hold up to the accounting standard, the FASB standards. So really, we can structure the HPE GreenLake agreement to fit either profile depending on what the customer's requirements are.
Oh, nice, because I originally came from a CapEx intense company. So depending what you wanted to show on your financials,
That's right.
it made a difference.
Mhm.
All right. So even though the question is there, one of the things is a lot of people always ask that question, what's the strategy to go to the cloud? Do we go to the cloud? Do we stay on-prem? So what's HPE's vision on that cloud first strategy?
So cloud to us is not really a destination, it's an experience. That's that automation, that transparency, it's that standardization of service delivery of IT, the ease of consumption of IT services with the transparency of knowing how much you're consuming, how much you're paying, knowing that it's being patched and managed to ITIL standards. That to us is cloud. And so cloud first to us is that you get that experience wherever you need it, be it the edge, your co-location facilities, your data centers, public cloud, and to tie it all together, bridge them all together so you have a consistent experience across your enterprise. And so that's what we see, cloud first being, is the business getting the maximum value and experience from IT. Because in fairness to IT, they get a bad rap. Why doesn't IT deliver that same experience to the business? Well, the business is not going to give them the budget to license all the software, to hire all the people, to train all the people, to do all the scripting and integration work, and then have to maintain it. Because once you do all that, you have to maintain it. And so the business would rather rent it from somebody else. And then more and more businesses are saying, look, I just want to get out of the IT business altogether and consume the compute, the storage, the networking, and the services, and have IT focused on me, the business, and not IT itself, the core IT, watching blinky lights on the monitor and troubleshooting. We think, businesses are saying we can let somebody else do that for us, and let's focus IT on growing our business.
Yeah, this sounds like another buzzword I've been hearing is smart cloud, right?
Yep.
Let's place our assets in the proper place.
Yeah. Smart cloud's really kind of interesting concept, because I think more and more customers are thinking smart cloud is having kind of AI operations kind of watching everything, because it's getting to be so complex and so spread out, with hybrid cloud, that you really need artificial intelligence to help you stay on top of what's going on across your estate.
So true. So true. So another question we're asking is about sustainability, right? So what's HPE doing about, sustainable or green IT?
Well, regardless of what your company's position is regarding sustainability, more and more regulatory actions are being taken around reducing carbon footprint. So what HPE is doing is we actually calculate our carbon footprint from our services and our solutions, and present it to the customer as part of the dashboard, our GreenLake dashboard that shows you what's going on in your state, so that you as a customer at least have a visibility into what your actual carbon footprint is on a regular basis. And so as you make changes in your IT estate or whatever, it's calculated what your carbon footprint is. So we're doing our part to try to help customers do their reporting, but also whenever, like, customers will come in and say, look, well, I want to go to HPE GreenLake, but I want a technology refresh in the process because my technology is old and all this. And so with that comes the recycling and sustainability aspect of your older technology, what happens to them. And so HPE also incorporates that into our sustainability calculation as well, to either reuse that technology or recycle it. And so again, to get as much value out of those natural resources that are in those devices as we can, or to reuse them.
Right. And we're seeing it as well in some RFPs or RFIs about sustainability requirements, which is, so that it's something that's gonna keep coming around.
That's right.
And another question is, so what are the biggest drivers and benefits going to HPE GreenLake for customers?
Was that indicated, GreenLake in cloud is really an experience. What customers really want is they want to buy an outcome. They want the easy button where they can consume IT services as simply as possible, with as many mouse clicks as possible. That means developers being able to self-provision the resources they need, but then have policy kind of controlling what they can provision so they don't go crazy. That's end users having their own service catalog of whatever services they consume. IT has their catalog of services that they can control, and have all that based on personas. And so the biggest driver is simplicity, the ease of consuming IT resources, the transparency of knowing who's consuming what, how much they're paying, no matter where it is. So you can actually monitor and control, your IT spend and utilization, right? Because right now, IT is kind of a black box. The business always says, hey, IT costs too much. We can't possibly using that much. And you have IT saying, no, you are, but they can't prove it. So we solve that problem. We report it. So we give that transparency. Third, there is a financial aspect to GreenLake. We can put it into a financial wrapper so that the OpEx or CapEx, so that customers know exactly how much they're going to pay so that they can hold to a budget and then have that variable capacity there, just like the public cloud. If they ever need any additional resources, they only pay for it when they use it. A lot of customers like that for monthly end close, quarter end close, year end close,
Right.
since things like that. And then the other aspect of it is, we can do technology refresh. We can go in, look at your estate, and a lot of customers want to include technology refresh into the contract agreement. This allows them to consolidate, take advantage of what we call Moore's Law. Technology is always getting faster, more consolidated. And so there's a lot of things that we can do to help customers right size their IT estate, and then put in the capability with a single change order to change their environment. So say, for instance, they start in their colo facilities or their data centers and we consolidate, then we can do that. Then they start adding edges like manufacturing, power generation plants, whatever the hospitals, whatever the edge might be, retail stores. We just do a change order. We just add those to the contract. We have to create a whole new contract. Those are just some of the values that businesses look to HPE GreenLake is the agility it gives them to quickly provision resources, the transparency that gives them, the control that it gives them over utilization and cost, and then the ability to quickly adjust and adapt to changes in their business environment.
Yeah, at one point you did mention that touches to me and my experiences is that budget and the initial purchase, and then the initial over provisioning, and then not having enough, and then having too much, and then not having enough, because it's very cyclical, right? So this kind of smooths out that requirement. So you're using what you need.
No, that's a great point. And I missed that. Because what we do is we look at your current estate, we look at the utilization of your resources. And to your point, and it's well made, is that customers typically are over provisioned because when you're in a budget cycle, you do a project and you have to guess at how much you think your utilization resource needs are going to be. And then you add 20, 25% because you don't want to be wrong. Because if you are wrong, you don't want to be going back to the CFO in 6 months saying, "Whoop, I guess wrong. Yeah, we need another X amount of budget." And obviously it's not there. But to your point, was we right size the environment to the actual utilization. So this takes out a huge amount of cost right off the bat because customers traditionally are probably 25 to 40% over provisioned. And so you take all that cost out. And then with that variable capacity, that's your safety net. So if you did guess wrong, or you have any of these unplanned spikes or curves or ones that you do anticipate, the variable capacity is there, can be 20, 30%, and you're covered. And you don't pay for that until you use it. So you make an excellent point. And this is why so many customers can save so much money by moving to an HPE GreenLake solution is because we can take out all that over provisioning, give you that variable capacity, and then right size your estate based on your actual usage.
Yeah, that's which increases the efficiency, right, of the compute environment, storage environments.
Yep.
Good. So one of the questions we get asked here is from, does HPE GreenLake require massive IT infrastructures? Not really. It does not require a massive IT infrastructure. We'll have to come in, either HPE or the partner NOVIPRO comes in and will actually assess your environment to see where it lays, and we can start at a minimum, I think, of four compute nodes in an HPE GreenLake environment. But we do come in with the tools like Cloud Physics and kind of take a look at what the environment has and give you an idea of what we can put in place with an HPE GreenLake solution. Right. Another question is, do we need your own data center to make HPE GreenLake work? No, I think there's flexibility here with HPE GreenLake. You can have it in your own on-prem, in your own data center, or you can have it in co-location services, or you can have it in a co-location services managed by a partner like NOVIPRO, right? So there is some flexibility to where you can put your HPE GreenLake infrastructure, right? And the other one is, can you out-task? There's another error here, and this one is, can you out-task the full management of the gear? And the answer is that there's flexibility here. You can either have just the connectivity from HPE to manage your capacity, right? So that when HPE will see that you need an additional module, they'll come out and install the new module. Or you can have it with HPE or NOVIPRO, do an update on firmware, or even on the software, do the upgrades on the software. So there is some flexibility here on what we can do with the gear. All right. So there's no questions so far. So we'll go now to part 2, is the testimonials, where we have some videos, some short videos of 2 customers and how they use or leverage HPE GreenLake to their advantage. All right. And I'm just going to go straight to the videos. Here's the first video from Asante Health.
Technology's been driving healthcare for many years. The importance of getting stuff like this right, we have found as we get more and more into the actual delivery of healthcare, is that it can't go wrong. It's patient lives. Asante Health System is a healthcare organization in Southern Oregon. We're locally owned, not-for-profit organization, 3 different hospitals, multiple clinics throughout the valley, and our goal is just to provide the best healthcare in the region that we can. The concept of an edge is interesting in a hospital. There's a lot of edges in a hospital. Little point solutions that happen all over, so there's a lot of data mining happening there. They need to see what's happening across the nursing industry from a certain key metric perspective, and then they might take that data, put in some other questions or other controls within the application that help kind of control that. We just felt that we needed a better model to be able to sustain the life cycle of the infrastructure underneath. With the HPE GreenLake solution, we were able to bring a solution in that would last the lifespan of that hardware it sits on before having to replace it, as opposed to every 3 years kind of doing a shift within our environment. The HPE GreenLake solution is super customizable. From our perspective, it wasn't until the HPE GreenLake solution came along that we can truly call it a private cloud that we're building, because now we're able to absorb it at that same level. It's extremely flexible simply because there's buffer capacity there for us. We can now take the same people and do the same thing and more that we weren't able to do if we were having to go out to the cloud. By bringing this in-house, we have completely changed the way that we will be doing business. Our data matters to us. Having our data in our data center as opposed to having to compute around your data elsewhere, that has completely changed not just our mindset, but leaders' mindset as well. We're just scratching the surface on analyzing data. We're starting to contract with different third-party type solutions that help evaluate our data to see if we're doing the right kind of admission releases and the different kinds of medication administration. And some of the recommendations are being driven by data that flows up and provides standard-based outcomes to all hospitals. The benefit is that the customer will start to realize a contiguous healthcare record. No matter where they go, they can start to see that they don't have to describe everything to another person where they went. They can go to another hospital or another clinic, or another smaller physician office, and that data can be used to make decisions right there in real time. This was the answer we've been looking for. This literally has helped us not have to focus so much energy on a public cloud. Now we can continue focusing on what really matters.
I just want to make a comment here, and what he said was he liked the way the sustainability, the refresh, and he mentioned a 3-year cycle. And I know a lot of folks that go through traditional hardware purchases, and they'll go through a 5, even to a 7-year cycle, trying to stretch as much as possible. And you're going, that technology changes so fast that in 6 months, a year, things have changed, progressively changed fast enough. And I guess with the GreenLake model, you can do that technology refresh if it's included in your contract that you said after 3 years, I just want a technology refresh. Correct me if I'm wrong, Peter.
No. I mean, GreenLake in and of itself, at the end of the contract, we automatically refresh the technologies built in. But if you want during the course of the contract, say for instance, you have us come in and take over the management of your existing estate, which we can, heterogeneous, doesn't matter the vendors. We can do that too, and then build into that contract a refresh during the contract period. So we can do it a couple of different ways.
And also his comment about, well, we want to do all this compute on the cloud, so let's bring it in-house because we have all these edge devices locally, because we can't compute around it. So that's when you go, cloud first strategy, smart cloud strategy. What's the best for us? I'll go to the second video from Western Canada Lottery Corporation.
The retail experience in the world is changing, so we need to adopt and change on how we deliver our products and get them in the hands of the players that we want to serve. Western Canada Lottery Corporation, we enable the services that allow lottery products to be sold in the 3 provinces of Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, and also our northern provinces. Technology is the backbone of the lotteries and how they operate. Through COVID, we were able to innovate, and we stood up a brand new online subscription service. So if you wanted to play a lottery and didn't want to miss a draw, through our online platform, you can now go in and subscribe. At the end of the day, really, we don't want to have any impact to the customer. It's been a very smooth process to transition all of our compute, all of our storage over to HPE GreenLake. With HPE GreenLake having the additional capacity and flexibility to expand when we need, and if our application team needs a new environment, we can quickly spin that up and get it in a pilot and test mode much, much faster. We added new games and new features to our environment with the flexibility to stack up and add more compute when required to our environment. With data and the analytics we're going to get out of it, it's really going to allow us to take more calculated risks and really inform our business decisions on how we offer new games and new services to our players. Security is of the utmost importance for our organization, for sure. With HPE GreenLake, having the technical advisors know our environment and know the technology and be able to update the firmware and keep things current absolutely plays a big role in security. And the best part for me is when I show up to our executive meeting and they want to pitch an idea about adding a new game or a new something, I know that we have the capacity and flexibility to ramp up when we need. Who doesn't want to win the lottery?
Okay, who doesn't want to win the lottery? I call that the instant retirement plan. No, but I love his says we've got the capacity. We can increase our number of sessions. Somebody online here? Here's some. Yeah, so that was kind of interesting. The availability of the infrastructure, be able to spin up VMs as he needs them to do new tests, to run new games, to run new environments. It's phenomenal, right? Just at a click of a button. Is somebody running something?
I think it's a video YouTube.
Oh, is it?
And
Yes, it is. All right. My apologies. Let me just close these. There you go. We won't get that running. Thank you, Baptiste. All right. So now we'll go through some of the case studies, right, that we've got, just to show you some environments. And our first one is Saskatchewan Polytechnic. So if you can say a few words on this one, Peter.
So Saskatchewan Polytechnic is kind of known as a university that's kind of driven by innovation. And so they rely heavily on their IT to help drive and enable their capabilities as an institution. Well, they had a cyber event and so ransomware attack that really caused them kind of pause because it disrupted their IT operations, right? And that's what we don't want when you have 26,000 students. And so they said, you know what, we need to really rethink the way we're going to go forward, better secure our IT. You know, this distance learning thing is really growing exponentially. And more the ability to enable both researchers and students to work productively remotely. And so they came to HPE with HPE GreenLake and virtual desktop and said, you know, can you help us not only secure our environment, you know, better backups and security, you know, with our solution, then provide a world-class kind of VDI experience. Because one of the things you don't want is for the remote person doing distance learning or researcher to have a bad experience when they're trying to work remotely and use the resources or take a coursework remotely. And so HPE GreenLake allowed them to basically out-task that function because they also wanted to free up their IT resources to focus more on innovation and not just, you know, the basic blocking and tackling of firmware updates, patch management, watching the blinking lights on the screen, that sort of thing. And so they wanted the outcome. And so HPE GreenLake provided that to them in a very cost-effective way. So not only did they get the solution they wanted, better security, better outcomes for their distance learning, but also they got it in a financial package. It was very affordable and also freed up their IT staff to focus more on innovation.
Right. And the part about the predictable costs always comes up and says, we know what we're spending, we know what we're paying for our environments is key.
Yeah, interesting comment. And we partner with the hyperscalers, right? The Azures, the AWSs, and the Googles. You know, research has shown, and customers tell us that they have a hard time controlling costs when they use the public cloud. And in fact, we had one SAP customer consume their entire annual budget in 6 months. So, you know, this is one of the concerns that customers have is if I go to a cloud experience, how do I control costs so I don't blow through my budget unexpectedly?
Right. You said a magic word there, SAP.
That's right.
We'll go to our next use case with Sven, MBI Sven. Another VDI example, I would guess, of this one.
Yes, so they're a partner. And so we created HPE GreenLake platform. You know, we enabled the platform for partners to add their capabilities to HPE GreenLake so that they can enhance the customer's experience and tailor it based on their particular service offerings. Well, what Sven wanted to do is they said, look, you know, HPE's got a great VDI solution, and we want to offer that to our customers as a service. And rather than develop this ourselves, which didn't make any sense, why don't we just, you know, offer it up? You know, Sven is the front end, right? You know, they kind of white label the service, and HPE delivers it on the back end, because then it was a time to market, time to value, excuse me, where they saw the value of HPE GreenLake, they saw the value of the service, and they wanted to get that to market to satisfy their customers because they didn't want to invest the R&D dollars and the ongoing maintenance costs to generate that new service. And so that's one of the ways that HPE helps our partners, you know, deliver faster time to value to their end customers and then tie into the HPE GreenLake platform for their value add capabilities as well.
Right. No, I find if you're a managed services provider, the HPE GreenLake really fits into the business model of how you want to deliver your services to customers. Right, and our third use case is the Edmonton Police Service.
Yeah, Edmonton really came to us saying, look, we want to provide better services and to our constituency, our population, and we want the ability to more rapidly do policing work in real time. And they couldn't do that because a lot of the data was trapped and scattered around, and they needed a way to be able to access the data, have context around the data and be able to consume the data and collaborate on the data with police in the field and people maybe that are back in the office, and do that securely, but then have the flexibility, like with something pops up like that, an event you didn't plan on, how can you have the resources there on demand to adapt and respond to an event like that? And so HPE GreenLake allowed them to do that, but also to save over $2 million over 5 years. So not only did it help them enhance and enrich their capabilities in the field, to do better police work with more real-time information, because they're very data driven. They want the facts and the evidence and the data, because they're capturing video in the field now with field body cameras and things like that. It's all new data feeds. How are they going to then have people in the back office see those video feeds and help give a second opinion, that kind of thing. All these things were coming up. And so what HPE GreenLake did was we not only provided them with a better, more robust data storage and retrieval and consumption model, but also do that more cost effectively or save them money. And then with the ability to have the agility with additional on the floor capacity they didn't pay for until they used it. And so that allowed them to check all those boxes and achieve the outcomes that they had desired.
Now, one of the points you had here is that that struck me was how to reduce the backup time from 13 hours to 3 hours, which is tremendous improvement.
Yeah, if you think about as people digitize and use data more, the volumes are going to grow exponentially. Well, with the growth in ransomware attacks and other types of cyber attacks, businesses really need to start paying attention to their backup recovery metrics, the RPO, RTO, recovery time, recovery point information, so that they make sure they protect that data, because ransomware is not an if, it's a when, when you get an attack, because it's the fastest growing revenue for bad guys and even the drug trade. So it's not going to go away anytime soon.
Oh no, well, it's so if we can summarize from those 3 use cases, we see a lot of predictable costs, scalability, availability, resiliency, and flexibility. Anything else you can see that's added to the way that HPE GreenLake can work for our customers, that from that perspective?
You had a very good summation there, Domenico. So really GreenLake, and that's one of the fastest growing parts of our business at HPE, both with our partners, because our partners, have service delivery capabilities, and it complements that very well. But customers of all sizes are starting to come to HPE saying, look, our environments are getting too complex. We have limited IT resources, and it's harder and harder to get the talent they want in a lot of markets. We want, in the resources we do have, we want them more focused on working with the business and growing the business, like with data and AI and stuff like that. And so that's where HPE comes in. Like you had mentioned, it's an outtasking, right? We come in, we can take over your IT resources, not the people, but the assets, manage those for you. We can refresh them, replace them, consolidate. We can migrate you if you want to get out of data centers, you want to get colos, we can do that. There's a lot of different ways that HPE GreenLake is being used as a tool for competitive advantage to give customers that agility, that transparency, that control, to help them get more out of IT predictably over time, but with the agility to expand on demand when they need to, if they do, acquisitions or divestitures, whatever, as a company, GreenLake is an ideal service and set of platforms to allow them to do that.
Yeah, I think to the one point you said is to have your IT staff do something more productive. So all that cookie cutter, menial tasks of updating firmware or updating an operating system, all that can be managed and taken over. And I know from my experiences, that's one of the key things that they were looking at is what's our next step to do the evolution. And a lot of it comes also with automation, which we haven't talked about in here yet. But thank you, Peter.
Automation.
All right. So our next slide is what NOVIPRO's guidance of what we bring to the table here. NOVIPRO is a managed services provider. We do have on-prem managed services. That means we take care of customers' locations. We also have co-location sites and cloud sites that we take care of basically on Azure. We also offer backup as a service and DR as a service. Other cloud services, security and networking services, professional services or hiring services, and of course, traditional infrastructure offerings with hardware and software. Right. So those are less and less around, but I think more and more we see a lot of cloud and managed services coming to the point that we want our IT staff to do something more productive and more that makes the business outcome better. Right. What we also have at NOVIPRO is we usually have an annual survey of IT trends. And this is a survey of the some 600 plus companies in Canada and what the IT trends are in Canada, where they're spending their money, what are they doing to address certain topics concerning workforce shortage, security, cyber attacks, right? AI in particular. So this site is available. This document is available at our download here. If not, you can always ask me at the following address, and I'll be glad to send you the link to that IT trends document. So if we have any questions on the chat, I don't see any. So if anybody's got any questions, please go ahead and enter the chat, or you can open up your mics, I guess, and ask directly. It's up to you.
While we're waiting on people to ask questions, we continue to expand the number of services we offer through HPE GreenLake. We have over 70 services now, and we continue to add to that portfolio. We can even provide licensing if customers want VMware or Red Hat licenses. We can do that. We true it up at the end of the month. SAP, we offer SAP as a service, Epic as a service. So HPE is continually to evolve and expand our catalog of services with that automation and transparency I mentioned earlier.
Right. Now, one thing is I mean, I went to the Discover in Las Vegas in June, and one of the things that I got caught was that X as a service. It basically is everything as a service. And I think that's HPE's next investment is anything as a service.
Absolutely true. Antonio said in 2015 that everything in our portfolio would be offered as a service. And in 2022, he delivered on that promise. And we've just announced a whole nother set of services around artificial intelligence, large language models, data pipeline as a service, machine learning operations as a service. We announced digital twin with NVIDIA, Omniverse.
Right.
Yes, all this is really demand driven. It's not field of dreams where we build it and they will come. This is all built and predicated on customers coming to HPE saying, look, we want this service. We want it through GreenLake. And like connectivity as a service, for instance, you already had kind of traditional network as a service. So customers said, look, we want private 4G and private 5G too as part of GreenLake. So we bought Athernet and we created that service for a customer. I was on that opportunity with that customer, and we built that service specifically for them because they wanted it. So this is HPE GreenLake. It's a continually evolving and improving service delivery from 10 years ago was mostly a financial model, like you had mentioned, the lease. So now we're
Right.
truly a private cloud experience across all the cloud estates.
Nice. It's interesting that you mentioned 5G, and I know a lot of places like lumber yards or other that have large warehouses that want this, that have that communication, but running wires is just not an option, right? So just have those 5G antennas can simplify it or make life easier to get that data. Perfect.
Absolutely.
I guess there's no questions here. We'll just ask the moderator. Since there are no questions, I would guess that's going to be it. I want to thank you, Peter. Thank you for your time here, and thank you for your insight. It's been great. For the folks on the line, thank you for attending, and have yourselves a great rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.